Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 124, so let's get to it. In episode 124, Cynthia and Ash continue their battle which began in episode 123. The second part of the battle begins with Ash sending out Dracovish, while Cynthia, surprisingly, sends out Garchomp. I expected that Cynthia was going to use Roserade here, but instead, she decides to bring out her ace early, which is certainly unexpected. Ash wonders if Cynthia will Mega Evolve Garchomp right away. So, Dracovish begins with Ice Fang, a great move to use since Garchomp has a double weakness to ice. However, Garchomp expertly avoids the Ice Fang and she uses Dragon Claw to turn Dracovish into a Beyblade. Let it rip. Garchomp then uses Stealth Rock. After scattering pointy rocks all around the field, Garchomp is withdrawn by Cynthia while Dracovish is still reeling from the Dragon Claw. So it's clear that Cynthia decided to bring out Garchomp so early because she wants to put even more pressure on Ash. Now Stealth Rock is only effective if the opponent switches Pokemon, whether because they want to or because they have to. Ash has not switched Pokemon once in this battle, so one would think that Stealth Rock would only be a problem for him if more of his Pokemon are defeated. However, maybe since not switching Pokemon has hurt him thus far, he might now be more willing to switch Pokemon, just like Cynthia has been doing, which is part of the reason why she has dominated this battle thus far. Cynthia is very smart, so it's likely that she decided to use Stealth Rock here because it will punish Ash either way. If he decides to switch Pokemon more often, hoping that this will help him, his Pokemon will suffer every time they are switched in. But if Ash chooses instead to continue to use a Pokemon until it is defeated, then he will still be punished when he is forced to bring in a new Pokemon. Therefore, he will suffer either way, regardless of whether he chooses to change his strategy or not. This makes setting up Stealth Rock a brilliant and ruthless strategy, which is to be expected from Cynthia. She continues to be a fearsome opponent, which is great. So, Cynthia then sends out Roserade, which is not surprising. Now Ash notices that Roserade is not burned, even though it was burned by Gengar's Will-O-Wisp in the previous episode. Cynthia reveals that her Roserade has Natural Cure as its ability, which heals any status condition when a Pokemon is switched out. Ash realizes that this is why Cynthia withdrew Roserade after it was burned. This shows again that Cynthia is very smart and she certainly knows how to take advantage of the abilities of her Pokemon. Now Ash is frustrated when he realizes that Roserade is no longer burned, because once again, he is denied a triumph. Like before, just when he thought he had an advantage, said advantage was shot down by Cynthia, thus shifting the balance back in her favor. I love that Cynthia just won't let anything go Ash's way. Now Dracovish does not care that Roserade is no longer burned. Instead, Dracovish is ready to ensure that Roserade will be more than burned. And Dracovish shows its determination by stomping the ground repeatedly. So Dracovish uses Fish's Rend, but Roserade uses Poison Jab to intercept and hit Dracovish first, thus preventing Fish's Rend from dealing extra damage. However, Dracovish, like a total badass, shrugs off the damage and it still hits Roserade with Fish's Rend. As a result, both Pokemon are knocked back, and Dracovish ends up poisoned. But despite being poisoned, Dracovish is still raring to go. In fact, it is angry, and it screams as a result. Meowth translates what Dracovish is screaming. Dracovish is saying that it will take down Roserade for sure. Now this is what you call true grit. Also, it's clear that you don't want to mess with Dracovish, for it is quite vengeful. So Roserade uses Leaf Storm, while Dracovish uses Dragon Rush. Like an unstoppable force of nature, Dracovish just bulldozes through the Leaf Storm. and it crashes into Roserade at full force. As a result, Roserade is defeated, meaning that Dracovish kept its promise. Now I love that after landing the Dragon Rush, Dracovish, like an action movie hero, poses dramatically while an explosion happens behind it. Careful, we got the Dracovish Schwarzenegger in the house. Since Dracovish is still poisoned, Ash decides to switch Pokemon. However, Dracovish refuses to be withdrawn. It opts instead to keep battling. You really have to admire Dracovish's impressive determination and courage. Ash decides to honor Dracovish's decision. Cynthia says in her mind that since Ash considers how Pokemon feel, it was only natural that he would allow Dracovish to keep battling, but that this might also allow her to get another win. Cynthia then sends out her next Pokemon, which is Milotic. Dracovish uses Dragon Rush to charge towards Milotic, who counters by using Disarming Voice. Like with Leaf Storm, Dracovish bulldozes straight through the Disarming Voice, which is extra impressive since Dracovish is weak to Fairy-type moves. Someone just please give Dracovish a medal. Its willpower is out of this world. Unfortunately, Milotic puts an end to Dracovish's courageous charge by wrapping its body around Dracovish. Milotic then uses Iron Head. Unwilling to go down without a fight, Dracovish counters with Fish's Rend, which is impressive given its current predicament. Milotic and the Dracovish end up clashing, which causes a massive explosion. While Milotic is able to hang in there, Dracovish is not so lucky, and it is knocked out, which is so heartbreaking after seeing Dracovish do so much. Rest well, friend. You definitely deserve it. Now I do want to point out that Milotic defeated Dracovish in the same way that it defeated Iris's Dragonite, so this strategy is clearly deadly. Also, Milotic should be nicknamed Dragon Slayer. Also, Diantha mentions that Dracovish did quite a bit of damage to Milotic in the end. We see here that after taking Iron Head to the face, Dracovish was still able to bite Milotic using Fish's Rend. Therefore, Dracovish definitely did not go down without a fight, which reinforces that Dracovish is truly an absolute badass. So, Ash sends out his next Pokemon, which is Sirfetch'd. Though unfortunately, Sirfetch'd ends up eating a rock as soon as it switches in, courtesy of Stealth Rock. Ouch! The last thing you want to see when you enter the battlefield is a rock coming at you. Though since Sirfetch'd has a resistance to rock-type moves, it did not take that much damage from Stealth Rock. Regardless of the damage it took, Sirfetch'd stands strong and it assumes a ready-to-battle stance. Ash realizes that he has to do something about Stealth Rock. He then has an idea. He has Sirfetch'd use Brutal Swing to spin and throw its shield. The spinning shield goes around the battlefield, shattering all the pointy rocks. Now, Brutal Swing cannot remove entry hazards, but of course, game logic means nothing to Ash. Also, I would like to think that having a spinning shield get rid of Stealth Rock is a reference to Rapid Spin, which can remove entry hazards. Cynthia cannot believe the crazy strategy Ash came up with. So Milotic uses Hydro Pump before Sirfetch'd can get its shield back. However, Sirfetch'd avoids the Hydro Pump, it gets its shield back and it charges Milotic with Fury Cutter. Milotic counters with Iron Head. Sirfetch'd cleverly uses its shield to block the Iron Head, and then it delivers a barrage of Fury Cutters, which pushes Milotic back. Milotic soon recovers and it uses Disarming Voice, but Sirfetch'd endures the attack by readying Meteor Assault. Sirfetch'd then charges straight through the Disarming Voice and it lands a direct hit, which defeats Milotic. Like Dracovish, it's impressive that Sirfetch'd was able to charge through a move it is weak to. After withdrawing Milotic, Cynthia praises the brilliant way in which Ash removed the Stealth Rock. She then says that this battle has lit a fire in her, which is all the more reason why she wants to win this battle. She wants to battle Leon in the finals. Ash says that he is the one that will win and that by winning this battle, he will surpass Cynthia. I absolutely love this exchange because it shows just how determined Cynthia and Ash are and how much they want to test and improve themselves. Though this does make you wonder why Cynthia wants to retire from battling. It's clear that she enjoys battles a lot. So Cynthia then sends out Garchomp. Now Cynthia does have Togekiss as well, so it would make more sense for her to use Togekiss, especially since Togekiss has a huge type advantage over Sirfetch'd. But Cynthia opts to use Garchomp instead, which is odd. Not just because Garchomp does not have a type advantage over Sirfetch'd, but also because you would expect Cynthia to save her ace for last. My guess is that Cynthia wants to make sure that she will be able to defeat Sirfetch'd. She does not want to risk potentially losing Togekiss, which means she would be down to one Pokemon, while Ash would still have two. And even if Togekiss manages to defeat Sirfetch'd, Togekiss is sure to struggle more than Garchomp, meaning that Togekiss would be worse for wear after the battle. So Cynthia decided that her best bet to shut down Sirfetch'd for sure, while preserving as much of an advantage as possible, is to rely on Garchomp. Though given what Cynthia does later, perhaps she just does not want the Togekiss to take unnecessary damage. Ash wonders if Cynthia will finally use Mega Evolution here. And I love that Garchomp just stands there like, oh, you have no idea what's coming. So Sirfetch'd uses Fury Cutter, while Garchomp counters with Scale Shot. But Sirfetch'd shatters all the scales and, after closing the gap, it leaps onto Garchomp, who retaliates with Dragon Claw. After a brief clash, Sirfetch'd is knocked back and sent flying by Garchomp. Garchomp then flies up to Sirfetch'd in order to strike with Dragon Claw. But like an absolute badass, Sirfetch'd uses Detect to dodge the Dragon Claw in midair. This is just so cool. Definitely one of the best moments in this episode. Sirfetch'd then uses Meteor Assault, while Garchomp uses Draco Meteor. Once again, Sirfetch'd just bulldozes through its opponent's move like an unstoppable machine. Garchomp is very shocked by this. She is caught off guard and she takes the Meteor Assault head on, which causes an explosion. When the smoke clears, we see that somehow Garchomp was able to strike back, meaning that both Pokemon took some serious damage. And we are left with the classic situation where both Pokemon are still standing after they clash, and we wait in suspense to see who falls. I thought here that Sirfetch'd would go down. After a good while, Garchomp stumbles, making me believe for a split second that she was going to fall, that Sirfetch'd was able to do the impossible. I knew that there was no way that Sirfetch'd would defeat Garchomp, but they still made my heart skip a beat. I honestly felt chills. Despite stumbling, Garchomp does manage to stop herself from falling, showing that she is not out just yet, though she clearly took a lot of damage. Now Sirfetch'd is still standing, so what gives? Did neither of them lose? No, it turns out that Sirfetch'd was in fact knocked out. It's just that its chivalrous spirit, its knightly pride, its unbending will did not allow Sirfetch'd to go down. Even in defeat, it is still standing. It is even still in a fighting stance and its face is still serious. The lights went out for it while it was still very much ready to keep fighting. Words cannot describe just how amazing, how admirable, and how impressive Sirfetch'd is. It is without a doubt a true knight that preserved its honor and garnered respect even in defeat. Sirfetch'd showed here that not even Dracovish can defeat it when it comes to willpower. Sirfetch'd is without a doubt worthy of praise, acclaim, and esteem. Sirfetch'd is just chivalry personified, a paragon of courage, a knight in the truest sense of the word. Wickstrom would be very proud. In fact, if Wickstrom is watching this battle, then I am sure that he is bawling his eyes out in this moment. Also, I have to say that it is an absolute tragedy that Sirfetch'd loses here. While it was also heartbreaking to see Dracovish lose, seeing Sirfetch'd be defeated like this is just so depressing. The sad music that plays here and Ash's expression of pure sorrow showed that this moment is meant to be heart-wrenching. Mad respect to you, Sirfetch'd. You showed everyone that you are truly magnificent. Rest well, dear friend. You most definitely earned it. And I would go so far as to say that what Sirfetch'd did in this episode redeems it of all its past failures. Now Cynthia withdraws Garchomp, likely so that she can save Garchomp for the final showdown. This also proves what I said earlier. Garchomp fulfilled her duty of shutting down Sirfetch'd while preserving as much of an advantage as possible for Cynthia. Now that the job is complete, Cynthia can save Garchomp for last without worries. I also want to mention that I feel that it is unbelievable that Garchomp was somehow able to counterattack and defeat Sirfetch'd when Garchomp was this shocked just moments before Sirfetch'd made impact. So, Ash sends out his final Pokemon, which is of course Lucario, while Cynthia of course sends out Togekiss. Lucario begins with Bullet Punch. Togekiss counters with Air Slash, but Lucario just keeps running towards Togekiss while punching the Air Slashes with Bullet Punch. I find it interesting that Dracovish, Sirfetch'd, and the Lucario all charge straight through their opponent's moves unhindered. They clearly all got the same playbook. After closing the gap, Lucario jumps and it pummels Togekiss with Bullet Punch, which is super effective. Lucario does not let up either. It pummels Togekiss into the ground mercilessly. However, somehow, Togekiss is just fine despite taking so many super effective hits. Cynthia says that just like she thought, Ash and the Lucario are in perfect sync, and that this is due to the bond their aura formed. So, just like I said in my review of episode 122, Cynthia is not surprised by Lucario and Ash's power, because back in that episode, she learned that Lucario is a special Pokemon and that its bond with Ash is equally unique. Cynthia instead acknowledges that they are as powerful as she expected. So Lucario then tries to use Aura Sphere, but Togekiss uses Air Slash, which hits Lucario, who is knocked back. Lucario then falls to one knee, showing that it definitely felt the Air Slash. Lucario does manage to stand back up, but it stumbles. Lucario was seemingly flinched by the Serene Grace boosted Air Slash. Togekiss then uses Air Slash again. However, Lucario uses Bullet Punch to deflect the Air Slashes. This reveals that Lucario did not actually flinch. Now Cynthia comments that Lucario has incredible willpower. This suggests that Lucario did not flinch because it simply had the willpower to resist the flinching effect. However, it is worth noting that Lucario can have the ability Inner Focus, which prevents flinching. It's possible that Ash's Lucario has this ability, or at least they are referencing the fact that Lucario can have Inner Focus. It is worth mentioning that they are distributing Ash's Pokemon Journeys team via codes, and Lucario has yet to become available at the time of recording this. So I am curious to see if the in-game Lucario based on Ash's Lucario has Inner Focus. So Cynthia then withdraws Togekiss. This surprised me because I was not expecting her to do this, since I figured that she was switching Pokemon here and I thought that there was no way that Cynthia would bring Garchomp back out unless Togekiss is defeated. However, it turns out that Cynthia is not switching Pokemon. Instead, she reveals that she has a Dynamax band, and she proceeds to Dynamax Togekiss. Holy smokes, this definitely shocked the heck out of me. This was so unexpected, because I figured that Cynthia would Mega Evolve Garchomp. And even if I knew that she was going to use Dynamax, I would have assumed that she would Dynamax Garchomp. Now, Cynthia's decision to Dynamax Togekiss is certainly a controversial one, and the only part of the episode that I am not 100% on board with. I love how unexpected this was, and it really left me feeling chills because of just how shocked I was. I love it when an anime can surprise me like this. On the other hand though, I hate that this means that we won't see Mega Garchomp versus Mega Lucario, which is what I was looking forward to the most in this battle. I also hate that we are just getting more of the same, because we have already seen Lucario face Gigantamax Machamp and Gigantamax Duraludon. Lucario was Mega Evolved when it faced the former, and Lucario was normal when it faced the latter. So we have already seen Lucario in its two forms battling a giant Pokemon. Therefore, we really don't need to see this again. What we have not seen is Lucario facing a Mega Evolved Pokemon, and we have not seen a battle between Mega Evolved Pokemon in Pokemon Journeys. Therefore, Mega Garchomp versus Mega Lucario would have been something fresh, something different, and it would have been more exciting. So ultimately, I don't like the fact that Cynthia Dynamaxed Togekiss. Also, I do want to point out that this decision has a lot of different meanings/reasons. It's possible that Cynthia simply wanted to do something completely unexpected. Ash was clearly expecting Cynthia to use Mega Evolution, so Cynthia was able to throw Ash completely off, which is in line with how Cynthia has battled thus far. She has made sure that Ash was never in a comfortable position. It's also possible that since Garchomp has taken a lot more damage than Togekiss, Cynthia decided that it would be more beneficial to Dynamax Togekiss. You could also say that the writers just wanted to make Cynthia easier to defeat, because obviously, even if you take the previous point into account, I am sure that Mega Garchomp would be tougher to defeat than Dynamax Togekiss, especially since Dynamax only lasts for 3 moves, while Mega Evolution lasts until the Pokemon is knocked out. So Mega Evolution would be more difficult to deal with. It is also easier to accept that Ash and Lucario are able to defeat normal Garchomp as opposed to Mega Garchomp. It's also possible that the writers just wanted to surprise us by doing something unexpected. Though having Cynthia Dynamax Garchomp would have been plenty surprising while also being cooler and more exciting. So yeah, this decision is definitely a controversial one with several merits, demerits, and or with some questionable and shady reasoning behind it. I also think that it's unbelievable that Cynthia is playing to win and yet she decides not to use her single use of a trump card on her ace. It just seems unreasonable even if Garchomp is hurt. It also just feels wrong that Cynthia will lose without using her ultimate weapon, and that Ash will win because Cynthia will not unleash said ultimate weapon. It's like they did not believe that Ash could believably defeat Cynthia at her absolute best. But yeah, overall I am not a fan of this decision. So, the episode ends with Ash getting ready to Mega Evolve Lucario. Now that's the battle, but before I get to my overall thoughts on the episode, I do wanted to highlight a few other moments that I loved. First, I love that Team Rocket were cheering for Dracovish and the Sirfetch'd. They were even impressed by the incredible things these two Pokemon did, and Team Rocket even cried when Dracovish was defeated. It is always so funny and relatable when they do things like these. Second, I love that Cinderace left its Pokeball on its own because it wanted to cheer for Lucario. These two have always been close friends, and it's great that in such an important battle, Cinderace just had to cheer for its friend. This is so endearing. Finally, I love that when Lucario pummeled the Togekiss with Bullet Punch, Infernape started throwing punches as well out of excitement, and Professor Oak had to avoid being punched. This is just so funny, and it shows that Infernape's fighting spirit is burning as bright as ever. If only Infernape could have put all this energy to good use in the Masters Tournament. So overall, I think that this episode was amazing. It was what this battle should have been from the start. This episode was definitely a huge step up from the previous one. The big reason why this episode was so good and such an improvement is that the second part of the battle was not as one-sided. It was a lot more intense. There was a lot more back and forth. Both sides were actively wrestling for the upper hand, and they were all giving it everything they had. All of this made the second part of the battle a lot more exciting and thrilling, which is how a battle like this should be. Now, the success of this episode can be largely attributed to Dracovish and the Sirfetch'd. They both absolutely killed it in this episode. They both had to endure and do so much that it was honestly impressive, especially since they never backed down. No matter how badly the odds were stacked against them, they still kept fighting until the very end. They both deserve a massive amount of respect and admiration. They truly showed their immense power and determination. Lucario, on the other hand, was not able to shine as much due to lack of time, but Lucario still showed impressive strength and resolve. Plus, I am sure that Lucario will get its chance to really shine next episode. I also loved the music in this episode, which was just on point. The intense moments had a suitably epic music behind them, and Sirfetch'd's tragic defeat was punctuated with suitably sad music. Cynthia Dynamaxing Togekiss is the only thing about this episode that I don't like. But this one thing cannot bring down what was otherwise a magnificent episode. So yeah, this episode was absolutely awesome, and I hope that the next one will be just as good, if not better. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.